Oh my God. We are back with another episode of with Jade and Antoinette, the Coldest Winter Ever recap. I just made that up.
Reconsider, read some literature.
Oh my God. Pardon me. I'm having a bit of a crisis. I think my face is breaking out in hives. But it's not a problem because we're here to get you this good plot and these good themes because that's what we're here to do. First and foremost, Antoinette and I apologize for the lack of the live event. Some things got switched up, and sometimes you just have to roll with the punches and figure out how to keep flowing. So, but we are here with your video content, and it's not the end of us, right, Antoinette?
It is not, and in with transparency, we are going to finish this off the strength of our word because our word is bond. But yeah. It got a little tricky there, but that's okay. We are here. We're going to finish this book out, and you can stay tuned for more to come from Jade and Antoinette.
I'm so excited. Shall we get into the plot
Please.
Of chapters 9 and 10?
Please.
All right. So here we are at chapter 9. This is actually breezing pretty quickly, I would say. Wouldn't you say? So Winter was going to a concert with her pregnant friend Simone. So she's at the show with Simone. And this is where she finds out that Natalie is there with Will.
Ballin'.
And she's up in the box seats, okay? Baller Will, hating from outside the club. That's what's happening with Winter right now. So this is when she realizes that Natalie's kind of moved up in the ranks, due to her head game. We'll get to that in a little bit. From the hot tub night. So then Winter realizes this is a Sister Soldier show. Sister Soldier just appears all through Winter's life, and she truly, truly hates this bitch. But here she is, just popping up. Somebody who's in tune with their spiritual side would understand that these are messages. But anyway, so she realizes that this is a show for the youth dim. It's a Sister Soldier show. But she's too busy hating on Natalie right now to hate too much on Sister Soldier. So, this is where Winter is kind of clocking Will mentally a little bit, right? And it doesn't have anything to do with him as a person. It has everything to do with what he represents.
And what he provides.
And Winter and what he provides. And Winter feels entitled to have that in her life, right? So this is where she starts to kind of plot on Will mentally. Fast forward, they all go to the diner.
To Junior's,
actually.
Which was so fun.
Junior's cheesecake.
I've never been there. So I was like, is that really a thing? Like, people really went there? I just felt like it was a tourist spot. No?
Back in the day.
Oh, in the day. Interesting.
But for the past at least 15, 20 years.
Yeah, I'm like,
I don't know anybody who goes to Junior's.
Okay. Moving on.
And I wouldn't advise you all to do so. So, fast forward there at Junior's, they're going to the diner after the show. Everybody's there. You already know how that is. The after spot, the after party, the parking lot pimping. Niggas just gotta, they just gotta flex a little bit. So they're at Junior's and they're at the table and Will is taking care of everything, okay? Daddy Warbucks. And of course, who does this tantalize more than, who gets excited by this kind of stuff? So she peeps game. He goes to the bathroom. Winter goes to the bathroom. So as she's coming out, what happens? Trifling niggas will be trifling niggas. Will tries to holler at Winter Sunday.
In all fairness, she was like, hold up. My girl is your girl. Like, in all fairness, she tried to be like, hold up. What you doing?
She did for a hot second.
For 1 second. One of them.
Right. Because when he pressured, he didn't even have to press that much.
No, he didn't.
He didn't have to press that much. And when he pressed just a teeny little bit, he was like, let me get that number. She was about to give it to him.
She did?
But Natalie rolls up.
She did give it to him.
She gave him the first 3 digits.
And finished when he grabbed Natalie and hugged her.
And was hugging her.
And mouthed the rest to him. After she was like, no, girl, that ain't what... Because Natalie came through and was like, saw the pen out, saw the whole vibe, and was like, hold up. and peep game and confronted Winter, and he was like, "That's not what's happening. You tripping, girl."
Of course, because what do they like to do?
Gaslight.
Deflect and gaslight. So Winter, so the energy has shifted at this point. Natalie peeps game. Winter's living trife life. They go back to the table, and you already know how that goes when two friends get into it or what have you. The energy gets thick in the room. So they're at the table, and that's when, little digs start happening. Winter basically tells Natalie she's always wanted to be her, and she's a phony and a fraud and a fake. And Natalie makes digs about Winter's entire life and her family's whole belongings and everything just gone. She has no problem making fun of any of that. How fitting, the sounds outside. They provide a beautiful soundtrack. But, so they're just going back and forth, and it gets ugly. Winter lunges at Natalie. Everybody breaks them up. The night ends. Well,
but Simone
it's still not
leaves
over.
with Winter.
Simone leaves with Winter.
Simone was the only one that left with Winter.
Yes, everybody else stayed with Natalie. That is important to know. Then they proceed to binge drink later on, but I'll get to that. So the next day, Will comes to pick Winter up. He gives her a call. He comes to pick her up, and that's when they decide they're going to go out on a date. She gets in his tacky ass car. My God. And she starts to talk to him about business. She had a plan from the get-go. She wanted to talk to him about business because Winter is trying to get herself set up and established. So in addition to her talking to him about business, she has to do the very Winter thing, which is make digs about other people. So she starts talking shit about all of the types of women that he deals with. Their dingy bras with the underwires coming out, which is a particular type of nasty. Their dingy bras, their ugly panties, but a lot of other superficial things to elevate herself and lower other people, because that's what she does. So she then proceeds to incessantly dig on why he is messing with Natalie. And you can tell that Will is getting a little irritated with Winter because he gets a little snippy where he's like, all right, now I'm about to talk to you like one of my niggas. And that's when we find out that night when Winter's whole life changed, when she was in that hot tub and Natalie was with that other boy, she made a reputation for herself. Natalie now has the meanest head game in Brooklyn.
Right.
And Brooklyn is large. So that's a mean head game. So then this is where Winter is planning to consult with Santiago about her financial options, because Will is not trying to have it with talking to her about business. So she's like, I'll put him on the back burner. I'm not going to discuss this with him right now any further, but I'm also not going to burn any bridges because I may need him later. But I am going to go talk to my pops. I specifically skipped over a specific conversation that they had in the movie theater because I would like for us to speak about that in the themes.
Okay.
So the next day, Natalie is crank calling Winter's auntie's phone down 6 times throughout the day. Winter's like, yeah, if she calls, if she comes, don't let her know what's happening. At this point, Winter A finds out that her money is stolen. The little $2,500 she had, she was supposed to be keeping close to her heart. Girl, you never go to the bathroom and take a shower without taking everything with you. What are you thinking
about?
about?
Full of 1 million people.
And your trifling ass auntie, like you already know she is. But whatever. Nevertheless, Winter goes, takes a shower, and gets a little free for a second, goes into a little daydreaming spell. And that's when her aunt lets her know that there is somebody there for her. CPS has finally caught up with Winter to seize her because she is a minor. So, at this point, she finds out that her aunt stole her money. She tries to fight her aunt, but it doesn't matter. They have a marshal there, and they take Winter away. And that was the end of Chapter 9. Okay, so let's get into the plot for Chapter 10 now, before we get into our themes.
Chapter 10 was spicy.
Yes,
Chapter 10 had a lot.
It had a lot of
of
information
things.
for us.
Yeah.
So Winter's now officially a warden of the state. She is now at the House of Success Group Home, which
kill me.
Yeah,
That
because
name.
if you know anything about the foster care system,
It's trash.
it's not good. It's not good at all. So the House of Success Group Home, which from how she described it, she said it was a big house. So I imagine it's either maybe like an old brownstone, with the different floors, or it's one of the really large houses in Flatbush. But it's a minimum security facility for teenage wardens of the state. So come to introduce Winter's roommates. We got Claudette, who's Haitian, has a very colorful sense of style. She likes the style of the Caribbean. Very greasy, according to Winter, from head to toe.
Loves Jesus.
She loves Jesus. She's got a jerry curl and a face full of Vaseline. I'd like to call her Dewey. and she's apparently pretty quiet. Then meet Lachey. I hate this description of people, but this was Winter's description. Chubby with a cute face. I don't know.
One of those girls that was a size 16, but still was going to wear a size 11.
Yeah.
I live.
She said she wore ill-fitting clothes, halter tops, coochie cutters. She said she was curvy. She was like, her waist was, proportionate to her hips and her booty. She was boy crazy, and she described her as a show-off, but then minimized her, of course, by saying, how the hell you gonna show off when you buy your shoes from the nigga at the train station? Then meet Rashida. Very simple. Ponytail and skippies is what she wears. Very simple clothing. She's clean and tidy. She doesn't have a lot of decor on her walls. No Word Up magazines. No none of that. And she's a big reader. And if she does watch TV, it's the news and the news only. Also, Noni. So Noni is the person whose bed Winter took. Noni is a heavy smoker because of anxiety from her past and how she was raised. And basically, it's better to be her friend than be her enemy. That was pretty much the description of Noni. So Winter goes through intake. She meets with her social worker, who, of course, she harshly judges for her appearance and also her job.
Kathy Johnson. We get into Kathy asking Winter about education. Where are you going to school? Of course, Winter gets defensive. She's snippy. And all the thoughts in her head are all superficial. Well, I don't want to end up in a job like this where I wear these JCPenney clothes and these Payless shoes and I put my little degree on the wall and I spend all that money at, big institutions just to live this little mediocre life. Very Winter mentality. Yeah, she said, what am I supposed to do? Struggle to be like her? Pay some big school, big money so I can get a little job in some little place making itty bitty cash like her? Please. I live. She was speaking facts though. Go ahead.
No.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
On that one.
Triggered.
But she's having her whole intake. She meets with Kathy. She meets with her psychiatrist, who she lies to for her own entertainment, which...
Toys with.
Right. I'd like to talk about that too. Okay. She meets with the birth control lady. It's intake. It's Winter having to go through all of the steps.
And
so,
this level of structure and I think I don't even know if it's structure. It's just like confinement and like just a stripped down of who she is and what she's used to. She's never experienced. So this is all new to her.
Mm-hmm. Winter's never like really been put in any parameters. Even
$60 a week, excuse me.
The girl talked about her 5th birthday party where she had on Gucci shoes. And Santiago got 100 balloons for every year she's been alive. So Winter has grown up in a very hood rich privileged life. Is how she. Whereas a lot of these girls who are in this group home have all come from a lot of struggling backgrounds, which we do know to be the case in a lot of the foster care system. So, she learns about the voucher and the stipend system that she's going to be getting that $60 a week. And this is where she's like, okay, this is not going to work. And she also cannot leave the group home for 21 days. So Winter uses the little bit of wits that we know that she has where they come in and she starts her own small black business.
Yep.
Okay? And I was like, this is where I remember rooting for Winter when I was reading this younger. This was the part, but it's all the other things that come in, but we'll talk about those. So she starts her own small black business. She figures out how to flip her money. She gets Simone, the professional booster, involved. Which
nobody suspects a pregnant woman, I guess.
No, but I think Simone was a professional booster before pregnancy.
Yeah, before she got pregnant.
I think pregnancy just elevated. It was like, oh, nigga, we on new levels.
Yeah. I'm on a new level.
So she gets Simone to work for her. She uses Claudette as her example. She's like, if I can get mama out of these hot pink, yellow sun hats and these purple tops and all these different things, if I can make an example out of this bitch, I can make Zolas. So that's what she does. She gives Claudette a little makeover, gets her hair together, gets her face together, puts a little outfit on her, and Claudette sets the example. That's what you do with business. So I was like, okay, Winter, go ahead. So she makes $2,500 in 21 days without having to leave the group home. And she was able to, get through her time there. So then this is they come to Winter about school. She officially finally drops out. We knew Winter was never going to go to school, but she officially says, all right, let them know I ain't coming back. I'll get this GED just to appease you all. I don't think she's going to do any of that. So she catches up with Simone. She goes to meet Simone at the pizza shop on her first day of freedom. She wants to talk about business. She wants to know what's going on around the neighborhood. Natalie's still messing with Will. She still hates her stinking guts. She's scum between her toes. Mom is full-blown drug addict at this point. Full-blown addict. Aunt B is a sex worker. I'm sorry.
That was wild. I was like, Aunt B wildin'.
Aunt B is a wild girl.
Shout out to sex workers. No hate.
Oh, no, not at all.
Wasn't expecting that from Aunt B.
I wasn't either. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And Aunt B said, my nigga got locked up. I now have to use my pocketbook to make some change. So that's what she did. So if there's a movie adaptation that ever comes out, I would love to play Aunt B.
I bet you would.
I really
amazing
would.
Casting. Amazing.
So she's catching up with Simone, finds out all the stuff about the family, and then she asks Simone how she can invest in the crack game. That's what she wants to get into, because that's what she knows the big Zola's at. Simone isn't really into it, but she says she'll ask her cousin and see what's going on. So at this point, Winter, after that, she's like, all right, I gotta go see Santiago, right? Because Santiago is the mecca of all this shit. I gotta go see Santiago. I gotta go figure out how to do this. I'm gonna talk to him in code. I'm gonna work it out. So she goes down to see Santiago, but he won't see her, which crushes her whole spirit and soul. She's always been his baby girl. She can get whatever she wants from Santiago. So for him to refuse to see her, like, really stomps on her spirit. So she has a breakdown. She's for about 3 days. She's not really eating, speaking, talking to anybody, and nobody knows what's going on because she doesn't let anybody into her life or into her world. So then Rashida sees what's going on, and she gives her this whole speech about pain. And I was like, Rashida, baby girl,
we're gonna get into this. We'll get into that,
my love. So, but we'll talk about it. And Sister Soldier comes up yet again because Rashida invites Winter to go see Sister Soldier speak. Says she got the tab. Winter has a whole spaz out on her, and she's like, "You paying this bitch?" Calls her a dumbass, which was a really bad move because she's trying to stay at a certain place within this home. And, there's a little bit of tension there, but she eventually, comes out of her funk, figures out how to move forward, apologizes to Rashida. She still feels energy, but, she's trying to make as much peace there as possible because she doesn't want to mess up her business. And she goes to see Simone again. Simone's cousin's not with the shit, so he's not going to be a resource for Winter in this crack game. They plan to go see Wu-Tang together because Wu-Tang is for the children. And Winter goes to have a day out of shopping and getting her nails done and, you know, getting a little piece of the normal winter life.
End of chapter. What chapter is that? 10. All right, everyone. So let's get into the themes of these chapters. So let's go back to chapter 9. Chapter 9, you know, I think chapter 9 really deals a lot with boundaries within relationships, what relationships are real, what relationships are fake. Mm-hmm. And like, even so we have Simone, right? And she's saying, you know, she would have Winter's back, but she has to protect the baby. This is after Winter and Natalie get into it at Junior's. And then they leave and binge drink. Mm-hmm. And it's just kind of showing that like Simone has a code, but she still doesn't understand her reality. Like no one understands their reality. No. Like they're sitting in Junior's thinking that they are living it up. He's like, everything's on Will. Everything's on Will. Your tab is probably like $300, sweetie. Like it might not even be that. It might not even be that, but everything's on Will and he's quote unquote balling. It's just not, the realities are so small. They just can't see past what they know. And that makes complete sense. Mm-hmm. And then you have something that stood out to me was that after she got into the beef with Natalie, the way that Winter just casually talks about it, where she says, I thought to myself, shit, I definitely had changed a whole lot because there was a time, or Natalie definitely had changed a whole lot because there was a time when she wouldn't even dream of threatening me, much less following through and putting her hands on me. And then she goes into, trying to figure out all the ways that Natalie could try to get her. Would she jump out of a dark corner with a razor on the steps where the light is always broken? Or would she pay some local crackheads to do some ill shit to me? I have to stay on alert. So a couple of things here. It's like, Natalie is someone that you grew up with. Like, how is it just no big deal that your entire relationship is chalked? Oh, excuse me, the chalk is something we say in Philly. Your entire relationship is basically over, is ruined based off of this corny guy who you don't even know, who you don't even like. But the stakes are so high for Winter and Natalie because at this point it's about survival. It's about what can Will do for me, right? And so that's why they're willing to throw this shit away. Friends.
I'm sorry.
No, they were friends to the capacity that they could be friends, right? It's that reality thing, right? In this world, in this small bubble, what does friendship mean? What is it really? And is that really friendship? Maybe it is to them. The other thing that I got from that is how exhausting must it be to always have to stay on alert and like be ready
all the time. I always got
all the time. Ready. And that's the thing about it is that I can't, what I can never fathom about this fast money and this fast life is like how people think it's so much easier. But in my mind, it's like, I understand. Right. And I'm jumping ahead, but I understand when she looks at someone like, I forget Kathy Johnson, who went to Fordham and this and that, and who doesn't really look like she has shit to show for it. And she's like, you spent all that money on that school and you ain't got shit. But Kathy, and you're working at this place at a 9 to 5 and got it. But like, you're working just as hard to stay alive, making this quote unquote fast money that doesn't last.
If not harder, because Kathy goes home and goes to bed.
Goes to bed. You are staying ready. You can't even sleep easily where you're sleeping because you have to make sure nobody's about to get you for how much money was it? $900?
$2,500.
Oh, $2,500. Like, you can't even trust your auntie. I know that's like the key. But like, you can't even trust your aunties in them.
Your auntie is Trife Life extraordinaire.
Right. Then you have the jealousy factor, right? And so you have Winter constantly grappling with this idea of like, she's been told all her life by multiple people, by Santiago, by her mom, by I'm sure every raggedy Negro on the street, and even by Will, that she's classy, which blows my mind. but like that she's elevated, she's top tier, she's on a higher level than everyone else. And so she believes that to be true.
It's created a monster. It's between that and then Santiago treating her like this princess all her life. She's never really had a reality check.
Yeah. And she tends to hate the people that hold up a mirror to her, like a Sister Soldier, or like a Natalie, who's like, even though Natalie is just as raggedy as Winter, it still holds a mirror up to what Winter doesn't have and what she lost. So anyone, again, it's that reality. Anyone that forces her to see a reality, she's either gonna finesse and clown or make fun of, or just hate on and try to destroy.
Including Midnight. Because she thought she was finessing Midnight at many points.
She thought she was.
She thought she was.
My baby cannot be finessed.
Oh, Lord. Okay. Keep going.
So, I mean, obviously you have loyalty issues here, but again, in this small world where it's really just do or die, you know, I'm either gonna, it's about survival. You're the only person that you're loyal to is you. How can you be loyal to anyone else but yourself? It's like the Hunger Games.
It really is.
At the end of the movie, one person or one team gets out. And really, it was supposed to be one person and they just refused to kill each other, something like that?
I can't remember.
Something like that. But either way, it's that. It's like you're training, right? Like you're in the projects, you're in the hood, and you're training together, right? Training for this combat. And then they throw you out into the world and you're battling each other now. And it's like all the other shit that all the memories and the life bonds and the friendships and the loyalty and the love, quote unquote, it's gone completely. And even when she like runs into her mother, she has nothing.
Nothing.
No.
Nothing for her mother. She don't want to see her sisters.
No.
Like she does.
That's in the next. That's in the next chapter where she literally says, "They're dead. I treat them as though they're dead to me because I can't do anything for them." Survival. I can't help them survive.
Yeah.
So I'm not that. So the only thing, the thing of the utmost importance, and we can't blame her for that because circumstances are very real. Is survival. If you can't help me and I can't help you, it's over and done with. I'm skipping ahead again. Chapter 10, the young girl from the home that was meeting Simone when Winter couldn't leave the home and was meeting Simone to bring the stuff.
I want to talk about
Simone, Simone, that angel said, well, not an angel, but she has more of a heart. She says, "What happens? What about her? You're meeting me to get the stuff now?" She's like, "Yeah, I have night privileges or whatever." And she's like, "Well, what about her?" She says, "She gonna do whatever she was doing before. She's not useful to me anymore."
Right. So she was able to just get rid of her, just dispose of her. And they all act like that because look at how the aunts treat the mom and the mom treats the aunts. And like, there's like no natural affection there. I can't imagine stealing from an aunt or stealing from a cousin or whatever. But I can't imagine like kicking them out my house, or, unless they're doing something like to me that's trifling. But like, the way in which they view family is so fascinating. There is no natural affection. There's no loyalty and no love.
And then I don't understand how Simone doesn't realize she gonna throw you away too as soon as she doesn't need you.
Yeah. And
the only person that she has not, she said, "My sisters are dead to me. Her mom is on crack now. She's still got that twisted face. She's a mess." The only person she has not thrown away, right, is Santiago. Because Santiago can still do something for her. In her mind, she's like, he can still help me survive. He has the keys to the kingdom. Like he's got the keys to security codes. I gotta go over there. And what does he do? Turns his back on her. She can no longer help him. It's just like, what?
And I just can't stop thinking about these babies, but we're going to talk about it.
I know.
Then there's a lack of loyalty and friendship and breaking codes. Because, again, Winter can't be loyal to nobody. So what makes you think she's going to be able to be loyal to a friend and not
That's my point. She can only be loyal to herself because self-preservation and survival are the only things that she's thinking about. It's the only thing she's been taught to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Even all the money and the glitz and the glam, it's self-preservation and survival. It's still establishing value and establishing, what's the word? Damn, it's escaping me now. Anyway, it's establishing like your place within that society.
Yes.
You know, and that's your survival. That's what you hold on to. Like, you wore the crown. You have the respect.
So what'd you think about this? So, yes, I know somebody does something dirty to you. A lot of people be ready to do something dirty to your back, right? Mm-hmm. But I wanted to talk about this idea in friendship when you fall out with a friend. When you fall out with a friend, do you go and talk their shit all over the place? Do you go and everything that you learned within that friendship you now use against them and throw them under the bus? How do you feel about Natalie going? Because Winter, let's be very clear. Winter was trifling boots and continues to be so. So this is not a defense of her. But what do you think of Natalie's move?
I'm petty enough where if you disrespect me in that kind of way, where you try to take my man, and then you literally are like, he's literally saying nah, 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 and then you still giving him the number.
And then I saw you get out the car.
I'm airing your shit out. Watch me work. Because then in my mind, I'm like, if you're capable of that, we were never friends. So this union is null and void. They weren't ever friends. If we just fall out. Right.
Now, what do you think about Natalie calling the laws to give Winter up?
I still don't know if that was Natalie.
I think it was. It
wasn't. I wouldn't be
aunt.
Surprised. I don't know if it wasn't. I don't know if I believe her.
Well, it only makes sense because she said, like, she's like, it literally benefits me none at all to have these people up in my crib.
It benefits her to get Winter another mouth to feed out of her house. But yeah, it could have been Natalie. But Natalie said, I'm going to get your ass.
She did. Ooh, and she got her in a...
and Winter's running around. Yeah, Winter said some crazy shit about her, too.
Winter, I wanted to talk about the idea of just friends when you're not friends anymore. Between these two, this shit is toxic and raggedy.
No, I've fallen out with people and I can hush. But if you're out here trying to hurt me, watch me work.
That's different.
Watch me work.
If you are intentionally coming after me, I will have to desecrate your entire lineage.
Yeah, I'm like,
but
I have all the skeletons. Don't play with me.
I don't fall out with friends. But in the rare case that you do, don't be that person who goes running your mouth all over the place and telling these people's business. You know, if you have no integrity whatsoever, if you do stuff like that. Let's get into some of the plots. Some of the themes of chapter 10.
And video. Record. 1, 2, 3. Ciao.
Mine's been on.
Okay. Okay, themes of chapter 10. There's quite a few here. So we've already gotten into Winter's way of compartmentalizing her family and her sisters. Jade, I know you said you want to elaborate on that because it's just wild how she said they're basically dead in my mind.
No, that's wild.
And she's the oldest.
It's wild to me, but that's actually not shocking. It's not shocking because of how her family moves and how she's been conditioned to think about family and think about it. It just made me sad on the grander scheme of things, thinking about all these kids. And we talked about it before, but thinking about all these kids who may not even know like where they come from. They may not know the type of life they had because, your memory shifts as you are younger going into older. And these girls are at ages where they can lose memory of their family. And they won't even remember
their mother.
And the only memory they're going to have, or the only information they're going to have really, is my father was a drug dealer who ended up in prison for the rest of his life and my mother's on drugs. I just found that to be so heartbreaking. And I found it to be so heartbreaking that they're going to look up and they may only have each other. Maybe it'll be the 3 girls. They're only going to have each other because they now don't have their older sister. She don't even know how to love herself, let alone anybody else. They don't have their mother because she lost to the war on drugs. And they don't have their father because he lost to the war on the system. Oh, it just broke my heart.
Yeah. Yeah. That I highlighted that too. And it was so wild how it's one sentence in the chapter. It's just like thrown in there real quick. It's like in Winter's back of her subconscious. Again, shout out to Sister Soldier who wrote this brilliantly. She wrote it as though it's Winter's,
which is why we forget about the babies until they're mentioned, because they're so put in the back burner intentionally.
Yeah. I wanted to get into Winter's hustle a little bit and how brilliant it was, because we see it all the time. So like everything that we buy, from makeup to hair stuff to nails to everything, really is an attempt at us to feel good, to feel accepted, to feel loved, to feel beautiful. Why? To feel accepted, good, loved, right? Safe. And so Winter identifies, she's able to see people and see right through them and see to their weakness, right? And she's able to identify people's weaknesses. She sizes people up very well, women. I wouldn't say men, but she sizes women up very well because she sees shit from a shallow point of view. So she identifies, our Vaseline lover's name? What's her name? Child. Claudette. She looks at Claudette. She's like, okay, impressionable. She loves the Lord, all this stuff. And she's like, okay, she's going to be my guinea pig. And all these other bitches in here are going to watch me get her together. And they're going to want to they're going to need my help, because they're going to want to feel how she feels. That's what every company does. And I hate to say it, but there is a parallel between what the pastor in the church what they were given to Claudette versus what Winter was. It's that, and I don't want to offend anybody, but it's that same kind of like this young girl in a group home is giving her money to a pastor weekly. Now wait a minute. If there's not something wrong with that, I don't know what is. Like, no. Like, the church should be helping her. Like, someone needs to be helping this young girl. Not she's footing the bill for this pastor. That's insane. But it just goes to show you how we're marketed to, how we're deceived when we scroll on Instagram. Like, even those ads that we see, it's all targeted. It's all for a reason. These companies know, like, oh, this person wants to lose weight. This person wants their nails to grow.
They knew my black ass was going to buy those caraway pots. They knew. And I did.
See? And there you have it. That's what I'm saying. So Winter is really, it shows that, like, while she's wildly annoying and wildly just immature and insecure, she's also a bit brilliant.
She's got wits to herself. She's got some.
She's got wits, and you learn that in the hood. You learn that that's a part of the survival, is sizing up the competition, because you have to survive. You have to be 10 steps ahead. You have to know what people are coming with. So while it's unfortunate how she finesses people and how she manipulates people into getting their money, it's a masterful
I also
plan.
think she does size men up too. Now that I think about it, she sizes men up too.
I think she does it wrong.
She does.
What man has she been right about? She wasn't right about Will. She wasn't right about Midnight. She wasn't right about Bullet. She wasn't right about the bull who she was staying with, who called her her cousin. She wasn't right about Santiago.
She sizes them up in the shallow and superficial ways, and what they can do for her and provide.
And they play her
every time.
Yeah, and I don't remember, but I think she sized Natalie up, because I think Natalie gonna get her ass. I really don't remember, but I got a feeling.
I feel like Natalie does too, but I can't remember either. I'm actually kind of glad that I don't remember anything from this. I remember little bits will come back and it'll be like, oh yeah, but I don't remember, and it's actually nice to read it kind of with fresh eyes. So yes.
Yeah. So then we have, Winter. So Winter's at this home, right? And these homes, even when they only mention the girl that Winter, whose bed she took, just to make a point, because what did the girl say? You know, she was a mess, smoking all these cigarettes. She was molested by her stepfather. Her mom abused her, all this stuff. But when she turned 18, she had to go figure it out on her own. Right. That was just to show you how these group homes do not work, or most often do not work. And that when the child turns 18, that's
exactly how it
Life's
goes.
hard.
My grandparents were foster parents, and the thing about the system that I've seen is you've got a few kids who are fortunate enough to end up in good homes because, you know, you've got a few people who are within the system and actually care about the kids. But largely, on a large scale, most people are in it to make money. They get paid, they get checks off these kids, and that's all they're worried about, giving them the bare minimum and making sure that they get them out by 18. It's really, really disgusting and sad. With no rehabilitation plans or anything that to help them when they come out of these homes, which is the same system that happens with people in jail. It's like a cycle that just continues to repeat itself.
So then we have Winter sitting here with Kathy Johnson, I'm going to get to, and also the institutional psychiatrist, right, who she's just toying with. She's telling this lady all kinds of craziness. None of it's true, child. And the psychiatrist is writing the shit down, asking her all kinds of questions, trying to dig into things, basically told Winter she's a sociopath.
Diagnosed her.
So all of that happens, and it makes me sad because I'm like, maybe some of these resources could help her if they knew how to speak her language.
It's usually the problem.
No one's speaking her language in there.
Problem in many areas.
And that's why she can't hear them. She's like, nothing you have looks enticing to me. Help me understand why I want to be you. And she goes into that really, really beautifully when she's talking to dear old Simone, who is really growing on me.
Right?
She's a hot mess, but she's
but
growing.
Baby, stop
she's got a good heart. She don't know. So Simone, this is why Winter's like, I want to get into the crack game, and Simone's like, yo, and lovingly says like, you know, Winter, I don't know about getting into that shit. When you get caught, you do time, hard time. She hesitated, lowered her eyes and said, look what happened to your father.
And not in a digging way. It wasn't in a jab way at all. It was just kind of like, baby, you got to pay attention to what's in front of you.
It was out of actual concern and care. But Winter breaks this down and she says, right, I thought that's who I should be talking to, my father. So immediately she's like, she didn't even hear nothing Simone said. She's like, oh, my dad. I got to talk to him. He'll know how to help me. And then no matter what Simone said, my father got at least 20 years of good high living out of the business. Nobody could argue with that. That's power. To be able to set up your own empire in your own neighborhood, or even somebody else's neighborhood for that matter. To buy cars, Jeeps, trucks, to sport the flyest shit made by the top designers every day. To be able to buy property, mansions, and still have apartments on the side. To be able to shit on people before they even ever got a chance to shit on you. That's power. Who could argue with that? A regular nigga worked all week for change to get to work, plus a beer to forget about how hard he worked. When I read that, I said, triggered. And I was like, wow. I disagree with Winter so much in her approach, but the rationale behind why she feels the way she does, I completely understand. Because the middle class person, the average person, the working poor, the this, the that, they're not reaping any of the benefits of their hard work. And so so many people don't live for the future. They're like, I'm living for the fucking now. I'm getting it while I can. Because I'd rather have 20 fire ass years than 70 years of me slaving away and have nothing to show for it. I just barely got by. I live check to check, or maybe not, or I'm in a ton of debt, or I have nothing to provide for my kids or my family,
or I have a small pension that I receive now. But the flip side,
pension, that's
Right,
a
I
thing
know,
of the
but
past.
I'm talking about
Who
a
gets a
different
pension?
generation. But
Right.
also, if you flip that though, because I also agree. I understand. I don't agree with her, but I understand her rationale. Because on the other side of things,
Exactly.
you're not looking at the fact that maybe these people are coming home to have a beer, and maybe they are driving their Buicks and working a job and retiring at 65 and so forth and so on. But you also don't know all their grandkids or their kids or how their holidays go or how their family dinners go or the family
Oh,
reunions
look at her
and
family
things
now.
like that. So it's like, yeah, you can have
Shit's
them
ruined.
hard, fast, wonderful 20 years, but you don't know what these people are building over time, and all it looks like to you is just basic ass living, but you don't understand the value in the things that are not monetary.
Right. And then you take it a step further and you say, okay, that's that side of the coin, right? That's the middle class, working poor side. But then you have the side that's like, oh, you're going to live it up for 20 years. Well, what has that done to your family, to your aunties, to all your uncles who are locked up, to you, to your sisters? And then on top of that, there's no way Santiago didn't even have space to come home and have a beer because he always had to be on. He always had to be on fucking high alert. So he didn't even have space to rest. So it's like, choose your hard, sis. Welcome to white supremacist capitalist America. Sorry, I'm guilty.
Oh, no, it's true.
But when I read that, it was just like,
no,
Winter.
listen, it was definitely
I agree, but also,
but you don't,
Yeah.
I may be an executive assistant, but these people are going home. They're going home with some peace. They're going home with some love a lot of times. I'm not saying everybody, but they're going home with some love. They're going home with some peace of mind. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully,
right?
Hopefully they're just living their lives, and it may not be to your standards, but there's an element there of ease that you will never know.
Yeah. So then we get into the idea of pain, right? Ugh. And Rashida, the quiet one with the cute face, fine body, but she covers it up, right? One who she never bought anything from Winter. She doesn't really engage, but she's not nasty to her either. They just kind of coexist. So Rashida, after Winter is being taken away by security because she won't eat, she won't get out of her bed, she won't anything, she says, all right, Winter, you don't have to say anything. I can understand. But whatever happened to you, I've been there before. It's a real bad place to be, but I've been there. It almost makes you wonder if being dead isn't better. Then she goes on and on about all the different ways she tried to kill herself, which was multiple ways, and I'll spare us from reading all of them. But skipping to the last one, soon as the pills wore off, there was more pain. Even when I got better, there was pain. Pain's a part of life. That's my point. Pain is a part of life. When it's your time to go, you go. If it's not your time, you don't go. Until then, make the best of it. If you find God, the good in yourself, and you can take most of the pain away. And then the few times you get the pain, you can just surrender to Allah and the pain will go away. I paused after reading that and just thought, okay. So many things there. One, this girl is under 18 and she's tried to kill herself about 3 or 4 times because of the pain. 2, I always have this thing where I say we cannot romanticize struggle and pain. And I resist the idea that pain has to be a part of life. And I'm probably wrong, but I think the ease has to be a part of life. But in my living, I know that pain has been a part of life, and I resist it, where I'm like, but why? I always question, like, does it have to be? Are we making things harder on ourselves, right? And then you have, on top of that, the idea of God and Allah, Jesus, whoever, right? And the fact that this being, source, can just take it all away. When actually, it feels like that source may be using it to teach us. So do they really take it away? It's all about how you see it and engage. And of course, those words don't land with Winter at all. But it just struck me, and they don't really mention religion much in this book, outside of like mocking it when it comes to like, you know, Claudette, the Haitian girl. So I just was curious on your thoughts on that, on like that passage.
So I think that ease is much more important than pain. But I do feel on the other side of things that challenge is also important. Have you ever seen the movie Inside Out? Inside Out is this Disney, might be Disney Pixar, I don't know, it's one of those. It's a movie that talks about, it personifies emotions, right? So it's a little girl, and the emotions inside of her are joy, anger, sadness, I can't remember what the other two were, fear maybe, and something else. But sadness leaves, right? Sadness runs away because she doesn't feel useful. She's like, I'm just always messing things up, so she leaves. And the whole inside of the little girl's emotions, everything got all out of whack and got wonky. Because what they taught in the end of the whole movie was that you need all of your emotions, your whole range of emotions, to balance one another. And so I think that if you didn't have any challenge in your life, which doesn't have to equate to pain. Pain is such a very specific and negative thing, right? But if you have challenge in your life, which I think sometimes people can conflate with pain, challenge helps to build that character and balance all those other things out. How are you going to be able to really feel? You'll feel the joys, but at some point that's just going to become kind of monotonous. Like, this is what I'm supposed to feel. So then those other things can feel worse. And there is no life without challenge. It just doesn't exist. We're not going to have it, period. There's always going to be something there to challenge you, but it doesn't mean that it has to be this grandiose idea of, I need this, or somebody's providing these challenges to me. I think that is just life. I think life challenges come with life, and your character, all these different things about you show how you handle that. And then there are times when niggas really do make things harder for themselves and they learn their lesson and get busted all upside the head. So I think it's a layered conversation. But that was my quick hot take, if that made any sense.
It made complete sense. I actually think that's a great place to leave off, unless you have anything else. The challenge, is real. Challenge is a thing. Pain, though,
it's another conversation.
Pain, I still feel like, that's a different conversation. And I don't know if any human needs to go through the amount of pain that Winter is, because while she's really annoying, it's all coming from a place of deep pain. That girl is so numb. She has numbed herself.
She's been numbed, and she's numbed herself further, because that's all she's ever been taught to do.
Yep. That's all has the capacity to do.
Absolutely.
Well, chapter 11 and 12 are coming up. We're not going to do this 2 weeks thing anymore. We're no longer on anybody else's calendar. So we're going to crank these things out as soon as possible for you good people. And we look forward to finishing this book, and we look forward to bringing you many other
concepts with Jade and Antoinette.
Content.
All right, we'll see you all soon. Bye.